All right. Hopefully we are recording and in good shape. All right.
Well,
hello. How you doing?
Doing good.
Good to see you again. Hey guys. So if you haven't tuned in before to one of our podcasts, we were just doing audio, and we had a couple technical difficulties. So we've been away for a while, but now we're back. And we're in full vision now.
That's right. We are in video and audio.
You get to see us, see our faces, all right? So in case you don't remember, my name's Tanya, and this is Heather. I'm the program coordinator for Next Step Pregnancy and Solutions. They're program coordinator for their sexual risk avoidance program. So I get to go into schools and youth groups and things like that, speak to your kids about all those fun things that they love to talk about. And Heather is our nurse manager.
Yeah, that's me. I am the nurse manager up here at Next Step. Looking forward to implementing a medical portion to what we do up here at Next Step. That is what's coming in the near future, I hope. But today we are going to talk a little bit about a 7-part series by Pam Stenzel called Love Lessons.
Cool. We all need some love lessons, right?
Yes, always need lessons on love.
No matter what we get.
So, Pam Stenzel. She is an American speaker known for lecturing to young people about abstinence-only sexual education. So this is a piece of what you would use in the programs you go in?
Right,
okay.
Yeah.
She has been described as one of the country's most established abstinence-only lecturers and speaks to more than 500,000 young people every year around the world. She has also worked in pregnancy centers in Minnesota and in Florida. In this 7 series produced by Brightcourse, which we'll talk a little bit about Brightcourse towards the end, Pam discusses matters of the heart, character, setting boundaries, and how to build integrity and protect oneself from harm by waiting for the right person who will love and cherish us the way we deserve. Pam's love and passion for today's youth is clear in her presentation, teaching, and steady efforts to educate on how choices can affect us forever. So today we're going to discuss the first lesson, which is entitled Sex is Awesome.
And Heather loves me so much, she gave that to me. No, we're joking. All right, so sex is awesome, all right? So we're just gonna kind of do an overview of what Pam talks about and then tell you more about it at the end. So sex is awesome. This first lesson is about 8 minutes long by Pam Stenzel. She's such an excellent speaker.
She is, she's very good. I enjoy listening.
Very captivating. She's very great at like integrating her own personal story into it, which is really
I guess I need to listen to a few more because I haven't heard her personal story.
Yeah, it's amazing. She even gets emotional.
All right, so Pam Stenzel, it's Stenzel.
Yes.
If you are interested in looking at Pam's personal story.
Yeah. So Pam talks about, she kind of opens up talking about like for years how girls would come into her clinics for pregnancy tests and say, Pam, I didn't know. Okay. What didn't they know? She wondered.
Yeah, so what didn't they know?
She figured out they did not know that their sexual choices could lead to heartache, pain, disease, potential poverty, struggle, unintended pregnancy, and other consequences. And she kind of also talks about this thing called the success sequence, which I've actually heard on another series that I watched too from Real Essentials. But the success sequence is basically, it was a research done on what makes people successful in life. What sequence can they follow in life that they seem to be more successful?
So a recipe for a successful life.
Yes, and it showed that people that graduate from high school, get a job. It didn't say go to school, it said get a job, and then get married, tend to be more successful. They are
in that order?
Yes, in that order.
Okay, so it had to be followed
in that order. Okay. Yes, like they're less likely to live in poverty, obviously less likely to suffer from unintended pregnancy, all those consequences that she's kind of talking about that these girls are like, I didn't know. And this goes for boys and you know, men and women, boys and girls, all that.
Yeah, it's not just girls.
Yeah. So but she also realized that over the years, a lot of young women were making decisions about sex with absolutely no idea of the consequences. All right, which I just said that. But Heather and I were kind of talking about like those consequences, but what does culture tell us about sex?
So like how did they, so is that where they're educated, is through the culture?
Right.
So through our television sets, through the movies that we watch, through things they watch on their phone.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime you see people are hooking up, people are happy that when they're hooking up, there are usually good results, unless you're watching soap operas.
Right.
Those are always
Hot mess.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they died 10 times
Yeah.
over. Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, even like romantic comedies, there was a kids call them rom-coms.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yes, it's rom-coms.
It's a rom-com.
You learn something.
Aw.
Say that to your son, he'll be like, all right, Mom, please stop.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, they always, they meet, there's that flicker of love, then they have some tragedy that separates them, but they always come back in the end.
Mm-hmm.
True love always prevails.
Yeah. And it always seems like there's a hookup too.
Yeah.
Not always, but a lot of them can be like, I mean, I think there's a movie called The Hookup, or things like that. So it's like, hookups, and they always circle back to each other, and it's like, no, that's not really reality.
No,
things just don't really happen like that.
They never showed them going to the clinic afterwards to get checked for STDs.
Right. Yeah. Or there might be some where they think they're pregnant or have been pregnant. I actually think there's a few movies about that. But yeah, the STDs left out. You do see the heartache and pain, but it always works out in the end. In reality,
that's not the case.
That doesn't happen.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So she also just says how, what she does is she goes and talks to, like she said, like 500,000 kids a year or something like that. But we're just here to give you the information. So what you decide to do with it is up to you. We're just giving you the facts. We're trying to equip and empower you to make better choices to prevent these things.
And even on that note, even if you've already made decisions that you wish you wouldn't have, it's never too late to make a good decision.
Yeah.
So I don't want, if someone is watching that says, oh, it's too late, I've already crossed that bridge, it's not too late. Every day is a new opportunity to turn things around and make better decisions. Just throwing that out.
Yeah, that's great, because a lot of times I think when you're doing something like this, people can think that you're judging them or making them seem like they're a bad person for doing these things, but I can testify to that, okay? You don't have to be your choices, okay? You are not your choices, all right? It's just what you do with them and how you choose to change that defines who you are. So we just want to make that clear.
So you said sex is good. Let's swing around back to that. Right?
Yeah.
Why is sex good? Tanya, can you tell us? Sex is not just good, but awesome. Sex is awesome.
All right,
Why is sex awesome?
Well, in this lesson, Pam talks a lot about the spiritual aspect, and she talks about God's plan for marriage. All right, God created sex, and it's awesome. All right,
it is. It's meant to be enjoyed.
Yes, it was His idea. All right, and God wants you to have great sex. He does. He really does.
Right?
Because God's ultimate thing is that He wants us to live a fulfilled life.
True.
Honoring Him.
Right.
But He wants us to be happy. He's not here to I like how she says oversee and ruin our weekends. You know, like putting these boundaries in to wreck our fun and ruin our weekends.
Don't do this, don't do that.
Yes.
That's not the case.
Yeah. Which I kind of used to think like
that.
Yeah,
me
too.
Yes, don't do this, don't do that. Like the 10 Commandments.
Right. But it's really, as you grow in that, I think you start to see man, if I would just kind of follow this, I would have saved myself a lot of heartache and pain,
So hard to believe it on the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
You think everybody thinks that their story is going to be different. Well, that might have been the case for you, but it's not. We are all in this same game, and the rules apply, and the consequences apply. I use my analogy of crossing the street. I don't know if this is a good place to use that.
Go ahead.
But if you're going to cross a busy street, you don't just cross in the middle of the street where you're more likely to get hit by traffic. You go to the crosswalk where you have at least a reasonable idea that you are going to be safe doing it. So why would you not do the same thing with your sex, with having sex? Why would you not take the best route possible?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that those rules are in place is to protect you, to
Right.
protect us. Same thing with this. God's rules aren't there to steal our fun. God's rules are there to protect us.
And I think if you're a parent, you can relate to that.
Yeah.
I mean, how you are with your children.
No, I know. So often
You know?
I tell them, I'm not doing this because
Right.
I'm not doing this. I do this because I love you. And it's the truth.
It is.
But,
you don't, like she said about crossing the street, what do we do when our child tries to run out in the street? We grab their hand and say, no, you look both ways before you cross the street.
right.
I mean, it's common sense to me,
It is.
Yeah.
For some reason, we fall short when it comes to sex.
Yeah.
Anyhow, let's move on from
Yeah.
there.
So, it's also about giving us the best, okay? God wants, we talked about, he wants life in abundance for us, but he also wants that when he wants us to honor his boundary. And when we do that, we get life. So we were talking about, I have this little illustration that I give the kids when I go into schools to kind of illustrate that about getting to know somebody. And I use a cake, but I use a tier cake because
a
wedding cake, yes. And I kind of ask, like, well, what's one of the most important elements of a wedding? Well, girls will probably say dress and stuff like that. But like when it comes to the reception, well, the cake, everybody wants, not say, what's that show? Not saying yes to the dress. The other, is it Bridezilla? Bridezilla. They're all about the cake. Yeah. So I give this illustration of tier cake, and the first cake is the foundation, and that's talking. And I kind of ask a riddle, like, what's a 4-letter word that gives a T, ends with K, and they're all like, talk, and it's real groundbreaking stuff. But it really, I mean, today kids aren't talking.
That's true.
They're not talking face to face. I mean,
They're texting.
And their texts are like, hey, hi. Emoji face. Like,
right.
That's not how, they don't know how to get to know somebody. True. So it's really important for them to do that. So talking is the first layer, establishing that foundation of, do we have anything in common? Do we want this to even go any further? And then I say, like, filling in the layers is being friends, putting those, I don't know, whatever icing you want in between the layers, being friends, filling in those layers, sharing, which involves sharing, listening, asking each other questions, sometimes difficult questions. Okay. And we also do an exercise with that. I also have the kids, I give them a series of questions to interview each other so they kind of have an idea of what to ask each other. And then dating. All right. We're getting closer to the top. Dating. We're growing together. It's the same as friendship, but within boundaries. We've already established trust, honesty, and respect for boundaries. So in those two lower layers of talking and being friends, we've established those boundaries and the boundaries that we won't cross when we're dating. So it's kind of just like a really close friendship.
Yeah.
You know? And then I don't really go to engagement, but the top, almost to the top, is the marriage. All right. And that's kind of like cutting the cake. You put your hands together. And I was at a wedding this past weekend, and I remember sitting there going, please don't shove cake in each other's face. And the bride got the groom so good.
No.
But it was really cute. Like, sometimes it cannot be.
It's
not cute.
Comfortable.
But it was really cute. They're a really cute couple. So it was pretty cool to watch. And then the sex is the cake topper, which is freedom. Okay.
Right.
That's where God wants you to be pure. Okay. And that is where he has given you both complete permission to be joined together and protect you from sin. So there's freedom in marriage. There's freedom for sex to be awesome, for sex to be great, for you not to have the guilt, the heartache, the unintended pregnancy,
the disease,
all those other things.
Right. That's true. It takes away all of those.
Yeah.
So sex was never meant to develop intimacy. That would be what you call before flipping.
Yes. Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Flipping the cake. Yeah. I forgot about flipping the cake. I also asked the kids, what happens when you flip the cake upside down? So thank you, Heather, for that. Because what happens when you flip the cake upside down when you're talking about tier cake? Well, it's going to collapse.
Mess. Yeah, it makes a mess.
It makes a mess. So when you start with sex,
sex is your foundation.
Yes.
This little
this little thing.
Yeah.
Yes. Everything's going to crumble around it. Okay. You might have, you're going to become attached to somebody that you might not even like, but because you've had that intimacy with them,
you're not connected.
And then, are they going to call me back? Do they not like me? Are they using me? Are they talking about me? Are they ruining my reputation? You kind of creates insecurities.
Right.
And then you can also have an unintended pregnancy And if you are, you don't know that person.
Right. It's like strangers.
Are you going to be a single mom, you know, or is the mom going to carry the baby to term and say, here, dad, I don't, you know, I'm not ready to be a mom and you're a single father,
right?
Which does happen.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's just, everything can fall apart.
It makes a mess.
It makes a mess.
So sex was never meant to be the piece that develops the intimacy. It was to be the reward at the end.
Yes.
The enjoyment after you've developed that intimacy. So it's an expression of intimacy and the covenant within the covenant of marriage, covenant being an agreement. You know that person's not going to leave. I like to use that in wedding ceremonies. It just seems stronger than just a promise. People break promises. A covenant is like lasting relationship, a lasting bond.
Yeah.
It seems.
I think that's good.
And then, like she said, like Tanya said, it removes all the consequences. So if you're married, if you're not married, don't do it. It's as simple as that, right? If you're not married, don't do it.
Right.
Okay. God's laws are simple and always keep us emotionally, spiritually, and physically healthy.
And back to you said, if you're not married, don't do it. Some people think that's an unrealistic expectation, but really, because they say, I've heard people say, well, what if you get married and then you don't like it or you don't connect well? Well, you don't have anything to compare it to.
That's right. That's right.
So it's gonna be good.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, if you don't have anything else to compare it to, but the more sexual partners you have,
the more
you're gonna look back and go, I'm not satisfied here. I can't be with that person. So let me move on and see if this next person satisfies me in that way.
That's true.
And you start looking to that to be one of the most relevant things in your relationship. I'm not saying it's not important. Yeah. It's very important for a husband and wife, but you're just looking for the wrong things in the wrong places.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah. I agree with that statement.
So if you're waiting, the temptation is less. I think it is difficult. It is a struggle if you've been sexually active to say, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. But that's why it's so important to surround yourself. I'm kind of getting ahead in our next series, but I can touch on again around surrounding yourself with like-minded people.
Right.
People that will strengthen you, people that will tell you, you know, you're getting too close, you're crossing that boundary, or, you know, I don't like the way that person's pressuring you. That'll be honest with you. They'll be truthful. Yeah. And they'll keep you accountable. And it's important to have those people in your life. Just like it is for, you know, sex can become an addiction.
That's true too.
You know, so it's just like the same as for any sort of addict. You know, they need those people to be accountable to.
Right.
So it's important. So just to kind of finish up here. So we talked on the spiritual aspect of that. So what if you're not a believer? What if you don't believe in God? What if you don't believe in that he created sex? What if you don't believe that he has these things in place to protect you? You don't believe any of that. What changes the consequences?
Nothing. Nothing changes. The consequences are still there, whether you're a believer or you're not a believer.
Right.
Sex outside of marriage causes problems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that goes back to that success sequence. That has nothing to do with anything spiritually based. So the consequences do not change because you don't believe that God implemented things that way.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So all of those same things apply. You could still get pregnant outside. Mm-hmm. You could still get pregnant in that sexual encounter. You could still contract an STD. You still meet all of the criteria for having that lower level of living for that survey. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So either way, it doesn't matter. Whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God, sex outside of marriage has negative consequences.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, where are we going to go from here?
I think we were going to kind of finish up with telling you guys a little bit about our Brightcourse.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Brightcourse. That's, this video series is part of our Brightcourse programming. Brightcourse is, this is the pamphlet. I know you can't read it from here, but we will put some contact information on our site if you would like to get more information to watch some of these videos. These are virtual lessons. That's a really neat thing because you can get them sent to your phone. You can get them sent to your email. You can watch them on your own time schedule. You can watch them while you're waiting at the doctor's office, on your phone, wherever you take your phone, you can watch Brightcourse. They have a multitude of different subjects. This one, what's it called? Love Lessons?
Love Lessons.
Love Lessons. So I think there's 7 in that series.
Yeah.
So that's one topic of interest. There are other ones as far as prenatal, labor and more, infancy in the first year, toddler, parenting, life skills, sexual health, fatherhood, and then there are different special topics that can be watched also. And I know that this one isn't even in this pamphlet, so they've updated since the printing of this pamphlet.
Yeah, they're constantly updating videos. I mean, and the content's great. I was going to say, if you're somebody who's maybe, I don't know how to talk to my kid about sex or relationships, and you find that conversation awkward, these are great resources.
They are.
Because none of the videos are more than probably 20 minutes long, and they have discussion questions. So if you're like, I don't know, even discuss this with my kids, like you can kind of go off of everything that they have laid out for you, which is something I really wish that I would have had.
Because you can have them watch the videos separate from you. You can both watch it. You don't have to watch it together because that might be awkward. Yeah. But then you can come together and kind of have some conversation about it. And that's something that we'll do with you too. Yeah. If you want, we can get you hooked up with the videos, and if you need someone to talk through some of this stuff with you, that's why we're here. Yeah.
You can come into the office and hang out, have a cup of coffee.
You can sit right here on this couch.
Yes. These are really pretty chairs too. Whenever you have a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, and discuss these things. Or if you're a parent who's like, I'm not sure where to begin, you can come talk to us too, and we can kind of explain this in a little more detail to you, and give you some advice and help you. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you're not having the conversation with your kids, the world is.
That's right.
All right, movies, social media.
Well, like we said,
I can't even tell you a new song that just came out because it's so inappropriate. It just makes my skin just.
Not about boobs, is it?
No.
I was introduced to that this weekend, and that's a pretty bad song too.
I don't know. We'll have to talk about that later. See if it's the same song. But and it's #1, and it's just breaks my heart that young girls are listening to this song and basically kind of idolizing these people. It's sad. And so, like I said, if you're not going to have this conversation with them, the world will. So it's time to kind of get uncomfortable and try to make a difference.
And also, I mean, that's to parents, but if you're a teen and you happen upon this video, I know that we're like 2 old people here, and we probably don't know much, but we might be able to get some resources that would help you to make good decisions before it's too late, or it's never too late. In the middle of your chaos, let us help you figure it out.
Yeah, so that's another thing. If you don't want to talk to your kid about it, say, hey, I have this video I really want you to watch. We can actually see if they watched it. That's the funny thing. That's pretty cool. We know if you watched it or not. And see what they think about the information, or say, if you don't want to talk to me, you can go talk to these ladies and get some advice. So
our information is on it'll be on the website or wherever this.
Yeah. It'll be under our YouTube page.
Okay.
Yeah, our contact info.
Okay, so there's our email address and our phone number, so all you have to do is give them a call. And hopefully you enjoyed this little video. I'm not sure how I feel about this yet. So we'll plan on doing another one next week. So.
All right. See you guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Please save. Recording. Okay. Wait.